Hello, hello, hello. So happy to have you with us. So, I am coming on really quickly as promised, kind of. I didn't really promise, but I'd say I was going to get come back on to discuss the last couple episodes. I thought I wasn't going to because I felt like it was the Bachelorette this season was just not like captivating me. However, after looking at episodes 6 and 7 again, my interest has been renewed because I actually did find those two episodes to be wildly entertaining. And so I decided to continue to cover this. And obviously, I will come out with some other material, other content, I should say. But I my interest has reignited again. So, and I actually have better understanding of some of the things I saw having looked at those two episodes again. So with Ed, he was pulling around this doll. I'm like, why is he holding this doll? So it had to do with that competition, as you all know. And I could definitely tell Ashley, because it was Ashley and her fiance, from Bachelor Winter Games, and she was also in Bachelor in Paradise. I do have Bachelor Winter Games on this channel. She It was really interesting because I could tell they kind of like Bennett actually won the grown man competition, and Ed did not win. Ed was uh delegated to have that little doll. So that's why he was walking around with that doll. I just didn't get it. But if you check my commentary on that, I did have a little bit to say about that. Now, I really wanted to come back on here and talk about this because I still am on the side, still on Chasen's side. I feel that Chasen did what he felt he needed to do. The only thing I had a mistake with, I felt was a mistake, is that after Ed tattletaled on Chasen and Chasen went back to actually try to make amends with um, Ed. But I think he should have realized that Ed just got awarded the man child. And so with that, it should have just made him think like, hey, this guy may not actually take it the way I want him to take it. I believe Ed is envious of Chasen. I don't know if it's Chasen's legs. They did call them tree stumps, and Ed has really, underdeveloped legs. I guess he didn't hit up that muscle group in the gym. That always seems to tend to be a problem with men. I'm just speaking from personal experience because I used to personal train a little bit. So I understand. But look, it comes out with Ed in different ways. And clearly, when Chasen tried to approach Ed, he was very he wasn't going to let it go. And some of the other guys identified that. Bennett identified that, and I got to get this guy's name. I forgot his name. He also identified that he wasn't going to let it go. So they quickly, it was Jay and Bennett, they quickly went over to try to, squash the situation. And obviously, Chasen was trying to apologize, but it never ended. Even after that, he went, and I believe it was after that, correct me if I'm wrong, he went back to Tayshia again and said, oh yeah, and then he was standing over me in a threatening manner. I'm thinking to myself, when is it going to end? When is this going to end? I just felt like, Ed is bringing about that bit of drama this season, and maybe that's why he's still there. I mean, it's bringing a little bit of entertainment into the household, being that they're not really able to travel anywhere for the pandemic, need kind of these personalities to go at each other. But Ed, I don't think it was Chasen's fault. I agree with how he handled the situation, but he didn't know Ed was going to run and tattletale to mommy about what was going on in the mansion. So now that I have better understanding with that, but then when we move into the next episode, I also, and we'll come back to episode 6. When we move into the next episode, I am starting to see this dynamic even more so with Ed and Bennett. And I'm starting to think they're the mean guys of the house. They both are very smart, but the way they do it is in a very intellectual way. But it's kind of a mean guy ish sort of thing, and I'm noticing that. But anyway, back to this episode. Then they had a cage fight. I didn't mention that in my little sneak of the last episode. They had a cage fight, and when it was time for Ed to really get his aggression out in a proper setting, overtly instead of the passive aggressive ways that he was handling the situation with Jason, he backed out. All of a sudden, he had this mystery situation with his shoulder, which I didn't understand why this came up when you're sitting in the cage the whole time, all greased and oiled up. Don't you think that it's going to be your time to fight soon? Like, why wait and just hang out to see? I think he wanted to see who he was going to be matched with. I mean, but then with his, analytical reasoning skills, wouldn't he propose that it probably would be Chasen since he was having such an issue with him? But anyway, I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I'm thinking about this the wrong way. So he waits there the whole time. Now, I just thought about that. He probably was trying to see who he was going to be matched up against if it was someone he felt he could take. Then when he realized it was Chasing, he was like, oh no, tree stump man. I'm not going to be able to take this dude down. So then he's like, oh, let me go to Chris Harrison. Oh, Chris, my shoulders. Oh, this. Oh, that. I can't fight. So then he gets excused. I love the way Wells handled it. He was like, oh, I don't exactly remember how he put it, but the way he put it was like perfect. He was like, oh, he forfeits, or a word like that, whatever. So I was like, oh my gosh. And then I just thought it was really interesting how that whole thing went down. Then Noah jumps in the ring. Noah's like, because Chris Harrison's like, hey, anybody want to fight for Tayshia? And Noah's like, I will. And then he jumps in the ring, gets oiled up. He's not really prepared with his, he still has his jeans on or whatever, but it was a good match. I thought he held his own. He tried his hardest, but Chasen still won. So Chasen won. Chasen was actually very gracious with his win. He set the belt on the table. He said, we all won. He tried to. So, I mean, we got to give him a little credit. So he was like, it's, we won, whatever. And then I was just thinking about that scene. So then, after that, I just thought it was going to be okay. But clearly, obviously with the issues ensued that I spoke up earlier between Chasen and Bennett and Ed. So in the end, Tayshia invited Noah back to be with them in the spending extra time. And then, okay, sorry guys, I just got a notification. Then after that, as soon as he comes, he takes Tayshia, which, okay, Tayshia made sure to let everyone know she's using this terminology, grown A man. She wants a grown A man, and she likes a man who pursues her, I guess. Don't we all, ladies who are listening? Don't we all? So Noah, when he gets there, he grabs her instantly. The guys are a little salty because Noah is able, first of all, Noah jumped in the ring because Ed backed down. And then Noah grabs Tayshia first. So they're all kind of in their feelings about this. And they express, I believe they express it to him when he comes back. But Tayshia reminds everybody, like, hey, this is the sort of man that I'm looking for in terms of a guy to come and get me. And then at the end of the night, I believe it was this episode when, let me see if I can remember his name, guys, because I'm going to forget his name. Ben, he goes, oh, hey, can we spend some time? She's like, it's over. Like the cocktail party is over. You had your time and you didn't capitalize on it and it's over. So I was a little disappointed in the fact that you did not actually come and get me. So there. And he's like, oh, okay. So then, obviously, I believe his feelings were a little hurt about that, but it made him wake up and give him a little bit of a wake up call as far as going ahead and pursuing her and not, um, it's no holds bar, come on. So after that, he did decide to do something very romantic. And what he did was in the dark of the night, in the wee hours in the morning, decided to find Tasha's villa and talk to her. So he actually went and did that. And at the same time, Ed did the same thing. But Ed wound up at Chris Harrison's villa and and what's his name? And Ben did not. So Ben reached the right place. Then there was another knock, and I'm like, oh my gosh! I'm like clutching my pearls, wondering if Ed actually was going to show up at Tasha's door, but it wasn't Ed. It was special delivery, some champagne for two, and strawberries. So it was really nice. And they just enjoyed their evening, and then he left, and then that was it. No one knew that Ben had time with her. But then I believe he did get some extra time by grabbing her first prior to the cocktail party. So this is episode 7, I believe we're in. So this is when things started to get a little bit more mean guyish, I feel, with Ed and Bennett. And they started getting a little mean guyish on Noah because people were still mad from last week about how Noah got extra, he jumped in the ring, then he was able to spend extra time with Tayshia inviting him back. And then on top of that, he took her away first. So all the guys have an issue. They're like, what's going on here? So the mean guyish stuff comes up when Ben and Ed are like really getting on Noah. Now, I just want to share that Noah is a little younger than the other guys by about 10, 11 years than some of them. And they have a problem with this. So they're using that as an advantage, calling him, they feel like Bennett feels like he's babysitting and some other stuff. And Noah actually to Tayshia and told Tayshia what happened. But I don't know if this was I was a little disappointed actually, because when it was time for Ed to go do his tattletaling multiple times to Tayshia, he named names. Noah, I understand, I guess, where he was coming from, but if you're going to say it, because then, it didn't really translate well, and Tayshia was left wondering who it was, and then the guys still attacked him. So it's like, if you're going to just do it, what do they say? Go big or go home. If you're going to do it, just do it, name the names, and then the thing is she even asked him, she was like, hey, who is it? Now I want to know who it is. He gave her some cryptic clue. I believe he was trying to make it a cryptic clue, saying, oh, the guy who did this, it's someone who doesn't, take confrontation well. So I'm thinking, okay, now she's thinking it's Chasen. Okay. So he messed it up for his friend, because Chasen and him, as we saw at the end of the, episode, in the outro, whatever, the end credits, they were like sitting in the cabana, I believe, or was that the leading into the 7th episode. Anyway, we can tell they are becoming buddy. And so basically, unknowingly, he just like threw his only ally in the house under the bus, saying, oh, this person, they can't deal with conflict well. So she immediately thinks of Chasen, probably. That's what I think. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think differently. That's what I think. I think she immediately, her mind went to, oh my gosh, she's talking about Chasen. So now she's fired up. She confronts the guys. She's like, hey, you know, and like, again, like I said, I really think he should have just named names, because then Ed would have gotten a taste of his own medicine, and so would it have Bennett. They're becoming like the tag team mean guy duo in the mansion. That's just what from observing them over the last couple of episodes, last 2 weeks. Let me know if you think differently in the comments or in the chat. So anyway, then she comes in. I feel like she could have maybe handled this a different way as well. She came in huffy puffy. She was clearly upset about this. And she's like, I felt like she was giving me a little Claire energy. No, no offense. I mean, we saw how Claire handled herself in the episode, and I'm a fan of Claire. Look on the videos of how I cover Claire. I like Claire as well. So, but I think she was giving us a little Claire energy, like with her, hey guys, let me tell you, and I'm thinking, you don't even know who said it. So instead of addressing all of them, because you don't even know who said it, why not talk to some of the guys, right? Like Claire did when she was trying to see who was talking bad about her man. Maybe do it that way, in your one-on-ones to get some information. Or since you're addressing them as a group, just call them out right then and there. I just got some information and I just want to know who it was. Let them come for themselves. And you're like, oh, who told you? Who told you? Then she can say, by the way, I had a conversation with Noah, or Noah, that would be the time, if she didn't want to call him out on it, that would be a time for Noah to step up, put his big pants on and say, hey guys, you know who you are. Why don't you say something or whatever, so we can just get it all out. No one was able to get it out. So now I still feel like she's thinking it's Chasen, because Chasen left. We all know Chasen left. And who stays? Ed and Bennett. So clearly Bennett's on the line this upcoming episode. Got to get off soon to watch it. Bennett's, lifeline in the house is on the line, and we don't know if he's going to stay. And I forget who he's double dating with or whatever. But is that what it's called? Double date. Anyway, you know what I mean. So it's him. It's a 2-on-1. Him and someone else. So I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. But she was upset. Then that was it. So now the guys they're on have it in for him, because he's young and he's coming in there with this, I don't care attitude, and like, I'm just going to go for what I like. And these guys are like, oh, we got to be on our toes now, because he might get him. But they're using intimidation tactics, like Bennett saying, she's not going to go after you anyway. Like, how do you know? I mean, he's there, right? So he has just as much as a chance as you do, perhaps. I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, so that is the episode. It was actually, they did go together. They kind of did go really together, and so is this one this evening. So I'm really looking forward to it. What do you all think? Do you think Bennett and Ed are like the mean guy duo team in the mansion? Do you think it's Bennett's time to go? Do you like Bennett? Do you like Ed? Actually, Ed, his personality came out when he was speaking with Chris Harrison one-on-one, when he went into Chris Harrison's villa or whatever. And I felt like he was actually pretty likable at that point. I was like, oh, okay, he has like these corny jokes, he's kind of likable. But in the house, like how he was like handling himself, I was just like, and for some reason, like when Ed and Bennett are together, it's like this thing that happens, and they just, feed off of each other and like attack. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think she's going to end up with, let me know who you think she's going to end up with. There is that electricity that she's feeling with Ben, and they just like really like each other and everything. So that's really nice. And there are some other guys that are there. That we'll see. So that's it. I've got to go, but thanks for listening. If you are not subscribed, please consider doing so. It's free. It's not going to hurt you. Go on, honey, take a chance. And yeah, and I'll see you in the next one. But that's my recap. So I hope you enjoyed. Have a good evening. Bye.